He's an astonishing actor, a master of technique. He won the Oscars at the age of 29, and he have lived with his characters on the big screen for the past decades, simply because he always touched our hearts. Please welcome Adrien Brody.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Ahlan salhan. I'm trying, I'm learning a few, but my Arabic needs to be improved. I'm very honored and moved by that warm welcome and for the invitation to be here. So thank you to the Cairo International Film Festival. It's a remarkable thing to sit here this evening. I'm very impressed that for 39 years you've been championing film and filmmakers, both local and from abroad. And I think the significance of that has been weighing on me. I haven't written a speech, but I have to say I'm very sad for the loss for the Egyptian people. It's a tragedy that is obviously far too common, and really what it's left me with is we're all here celebrating creativity and film, and the beauty of film is that with storytelling we're able to go beyond our cultural limitations, our things we've learned in our own society, and witness other people's lives. As an actor, I know that's my main motivation in choosing my work, is to find characters that are meaningful to me and to understand their struggle, which gives me a bit of more gratitude for my already blessed life. But we have to be reminded with all the violence that exists in the world around us and that is captured on film and that is touted in the media, to not become desensitized, because it's that spirit of empathy that will prevent future generations of hatred and intolerance and bigotry and insensitivity to others. And so we have to keep that alive. And I wasn't planning on making a heavy speech, but it's a heavy time. So I'm very grateful. My parents are here as my guests. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to share this journey in this magical country with them, and we're going to explore and cherish this opportunity, and thank you all very much. I appreciate this. Thank you.
مشاهدينا الكرام، برحب بحضراتكم معانا في هذا اللقاء الخاص مع أحد الضيوف المميزين الحقيقة اللي كانوا موجودين معانا في ختام مهرجان القاهرة السينمائي الدولي في دورته رقم 39. هو أصغر من حصل على جائزة الأوسكار، كان عنده وقتها 29 سنة لما حصل على جائزة الأوسكار سنة 2003 عن فيلمه ذا بيانست، واللي حاز بخصوصه أيضا بجائزة سيزر كأفضل ممثل. والحقيقة أنه دايما بينتقي الأدوار الغير سهلة، وحينما سئل في ذلك قال أنا بحب دايما أخش في التحدي وأخوض التحدي، ولو نجح ببقى مبسوط، ولو فشل الفيلم بيبقى بالنسبة لي مفيد عشان بتعلم منه أقدر أنجح في الخطوة اللي بعديها. الحقيقة هو من الممثلين التقال جدا من أبناء جيله، فخلونا نرحب بيه معانا. Please allow us to welcome the American star and the youngest Oscar winner, right? We're pleased to have you.
Thank you very
much, Adrien Brody. And first, we're pleased to have you on our screen, DMC, and definitely in Egypt.
Thank you.
I know you arrived today, the afternoon, so you didn't yet get to see the pyramids and some of the places in Egypt. But obviously, you had some expectations. What were your expectations regarding Egypt before you arrived?
Well, I've dreamt of coming here. In fact, actually, and I only remember this just the other day, I used to have a little Tutankhamun figurine, like from the Natural History Museum when I was a child.
Okay.
And I kept it by my bed every night for years growing up. I had a little stand next to it with a few things that were very important to me, and there was this golden rendition of him. And I just... I'm very excited for all of the cultural things and just such a beautiful ancient heritage. I mean, it's just a privilege to get to go to a place like that. So much so that I brought my father, who was a history teacher, and my mother, who's a wonderful photographer. I brought them to experience this as well because it's very special.
Yeah, we're pleased to have the whole family.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there are two stereotypes regarding Egypt for those who didn't visit Egypt.
Yes,
the first one is usually that Egypt is about only pyramids, some deserts, camels, and Galabeya. Okay? And the other stereotype now that some people scare the others that don't visit Egypt. There's a lot of terrorism going on there. So, did you have any of those stereotypes in mind before you arrive?
I don't view things in a black and white fashion or especially in a stereotypical manner. I'm very much a nomadic person by nature and partially by my occupation. As an actor, you're often working physically in other countries, and not as a tourist, but as someone who's living there and working and interacting with local crew and befriending local crew and people, and that I have friends throughout the world. I actually have friends in Egypt now.
Really?
Who are Egyptian, who happen to be here, who also want to show me around.
Lucky them. You can have one more now.
Well, thank you. And so I feel very much a part of a world culture in a way. And I, of course, could never oversimplify a nation as complex as Egypt because of something as magnificent as the pyramids. But I have to admit, I am very excited to get to see them in person. It's really a wonder, and it's something Egyptians should be very proud of.
Yeah, we are.
It is not stereotypical at all. It is magnificent, and it I think blows people's minds to this day, no matter where they're from. So
True. The fact that your dad is a history teacher, did he ever tell you about Egypt and the pharaohs?
I'm sure we've had those discussions, and we will
have more
tomorrow and the next
probably
few days.
He'll be your tour guide, huh?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to watch like Egyptian movies, Arabic movies?
I'm sure I've seen some. I couldn't name any right now. I'm also a bit jet lagged, so if you have to forgive me, but
No.
I don't know if I can name any more than a few.
But you did.
Great, yes.
You did.
Yes.
And how do you see the Egyptian cinema?
Well, I can't. I'm not one to really judge a nation's cinema, right? I can't say, I mean, even great French cinema has changed, right? And then there are still great films that are being made, but the type of films that Truffaut and Godard made are not being made today, and the market doesn't necessarily support those movies. Same thing with American cinema. American cinema it is very different from what it was in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, for that matter, and the 90s. So it's always in flux. I think what's beautiful about this festival is it gives a platform for local filmmakers and for them to have a voice and a creative outlet and an audience, because the difficulty with making independent movies is it's very difficult for distributors to justify a big marketing budget, and so therefore without the marketing there is very much fewer eyes on it, and then you don't have access to it. And that's the beauty of independent cinema, is that it is special. It doesn't have to appeal to everyone, but the downside is unless you're observant and looking for it, you miss some great work.
Yeah. How important are the international film festivals for all the world, for sharing cultures and seeing everybody, how the movie makers from different parts of the world share their thoughts, see each other's work? How important is that for all the people around the world?
I think on a pure level, film festivals are a wonderful entity. They, as I mentioned earlier, they afford filmmakers and actors and other creative people involved in these projects exposure, and exposure to not only an audience at the festival but distributors, and then there's often a bidding war if the film is intriguing to the distributors, and then there's a lot of awareness for up-and-coming talent. I mean, it was a remarkable experience for me to be in Cannes with The Pianist, and the film won the Palme d'Or, but that exposure, and I'd been to the festival many times or several times with other films, but I'd never experienced anything like that. And sharing that with an audience that loves film was tremendous and really emotional. Film festivals are also a market, and so there is a commercial aspect to them as well, which is much a part of the business. But that exists and is a necessary part of some of the programming. But as far as the bottom line is that independent filmmakers end up with a voice, and it creates a genuine excitement. I think film festivals always kind of create a renewed love of what goes into making movies, and it's not only what I love, but many people love who don't even necessarily work in that profession.
You started acting at a very young age, and you won your Oscar when you were 29. What does it take to be a successful actor? What do you do?
Well, I don't have a recipe for success. I feel very grateful that there's an adage, there's an expression that it's a combination of preparedness and timing, and I think there are many factors that have to come into play. The important thing is to be dedicated, right? To be dedicated to your work, whatever it is. In any profession or any creative field or sport, and not to look for an end result, because I can speak from both sides of that, because I've been a struggling actor for many years of my life, really, and I'd been acting for 17 years before The Pianist, or before we received the accolades from recognition for that work, and I, inshallah, have received a lot of blessings and acknowledgement for my work, and respect from my peers, and so, but the journey doesn't end, right? So it doesn't end with you've received the recognition, because it's a triumph, it's a tremendous privilege and a rarity, but then you have to keep searching, and your criteria evolves as you evolve as a man or a woman, and you have to find new inspiration, continued inspiration. And it may not even be within the same field, but speaking as an artist and someone who's always been drawn to creative pursuits, the end result has never been to become a famous actor, or of course it's a big honor and a necessity in a career sense, but the beauty is the work, and if you are successful, you usually have more access to material that will stimulate you. You're not necessarily just trying to do any bit part on a movie, because that's often what actors must do.
Well, we're very happy to have you, and we're really glad that you came to our film festival.
Thank
you
you.
came to Egypt. I hope you enjoy your journey and enjoy your
I
tour,
will,
and enjoy watching the pyramids.
I will.
And we'll definitely be happy to have you again in
And I
our
will
country.
return, I'm sure.
Yeah,
of
we're
that,
looking
yes,
forward to
yeah,
that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Pleasure. Thank you,
you.
Mr. Adrien. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. بشكر حضراتكم على طيب المتابعة، وعودة إلى استوديو مرة أخرى.